absurd defiance ends here, hatchling.
Shockwave Totem's actually mechanically really nice. With Astral Projector, it auto-targets, hits the whole screen, no waiting for projectile travel, you can place it ahead of you to off-screen or hit around corners, and the damage uptime is great on bosses, so you can mostly just focus on dodging mechanics. Not that you would need to if you have enough damage. These days, you mostly just see it as like a glass cannon Sanctum runner. It's mechanically good, but there were some things holding it back from feeling great as like a well-rounded, all-purpose type thing. However, we actually just got some pretty cool buffs. We have a Foulborn Astral Projector that doesn't have the AoE penalty on it. Combine that with the recent change to totem placement speed, and Shockwave Totem feels pretty sick in maps now. And the new Echoing Shrine Belt interacts really well with this skill. It just straight up doubles your damage, because summoning totems can't be echoed, so it doesn't lock your character in place for a second cast. Also, the attack speed makes shield charge really fast, so you can use that to make up for not being able to use a Quicksilver. Or you could do this. Now, the actual numbers on the skill aren't the most insane or anything, so you're gonna need pretty decent gear for it to feel really strong, but once you're invested you can easily just blast through pretty much all content. So, a little life stacking is probably the most efficient choice here. Wrathpith is really strong right now, especially with the new volatile Wall Orbs, and totems work really well with it because you only sacrifice life once to summon the totem, and then it just continuously hits. And you end up getting your defenses up to a reasonable level as a byproduct just by having a really big life pool. It's also pretty simple to set up using an Adorned. These jewels are really easy to make yourself. Like, not only does it give access to a lot more increased life than we'd otherwise have access to, but the amount of crit multi on it is gonna be better than what you can get on a perfect rare jewel, cause Shockwave Totem's a physical spell, so you can't use elemental specific modifiers like these, even though we are converting all our damage to cold. Another reason for life stacking, we are able to give up our 6th link for Calm's Heart, which also got substantially buffed with volatile Wall Orbs, because we can use a multi-link Archdemon Crown. The Essence and Influence mods aside, we're also pretty desperate for gem levels cause that's our only source of added flat damage as a physical spell here. We're not getting any from life stacking, so that's why we're not going too crazy with it with like 20k life and Dissolution. We just cap crit and get a shit ton of increased damage from Wrathpith. In fact, a lot of our gear doesn't even have life on it, but something like this Focused Amulet is just too good to give up. +4 is insane on its own, but like 44% cast speed should not be overlooked here. Cast speed is probably the single most important stat for the overall feel of the build. Now, between our helmet, amulet, and uniques, we actually have a lot of suffix pressure on this build, so going Supreme Ostentation helps alleviate that. We miss out on a bit of life from strength, but there's no way we're gonna be able to get enough attributes and reds otherwise. But also, we make really good use of tattoos on this build, not only for the actual stats they give, but it makes it easy to balance our strength and int for Rational Doctrine. I'm mostly using it for the regen from Consecrated Ground, so strength would be the priority here. The Profane Ground isn't really necessary, just a nice bonus if you can get it. It feels kinda bad that some of the uniques we're using have int on them, so if you want both bonuses on Rational Doctrine, you have to make sure the total int on all of your gear is a multiple of 10, so you can just leave however many strength nodes untattooed to keep it balanced with your int. Putting the Elegant Hubris in this socket here also gives us access to potentially 3 really juicy notables. I would first prioritize Block Chance here. Then you can go for stuff like Crit Multi, Cast Speed, maybe Chaos Reds if you need it, or Endurance Charge Generation if you want more defense. We have easy access to 2 additional charges on the tree. But I found that I don't actually get hit often enough for good uptime on the charges. Now, even with some suffixes freed up from Supreme Ostentation, capping res can still be a bit of a struggle. Like, I'm getting res on all my cluster jewels along with 1 Prismatic Heart, and then I'm using blue tattoos to fill out the rest of my res. The rest of my blue tattoos are crit damage reduction. I'm combining it with the Armor Mastery for a total of 75%. You can use the Crit Mastery too when mapping for full crit immunity. Honestly, you can probably just use Soul of Solaris and call it a day, and then filling out reds should be much easier. And the reason I only mention blue tattoos for res is because I'm using all my red tattoos on attack block, which is going to be our source of attack avoidance. Normally we don't take too many hits, but this comes in really clutch in juiced high density maps. This along with like 11k life is going to be good enough for defenses. You can't just stand still and face tank Ubers or whatever, not that you would ever need to, but you can take a few hits. And recovery is also really good on this build. We have almost 3k regen total from various sources, and one of them, the new rune graft of Resurgence, is pretty cool. It adds life regeneration rate to the Arcane Surge buff. This means it gets scaled by our various sources of increased Arcane Surge effect, which we already want a lot of because it scales the cast speed and gives us more spell damage. Along with the regen, we also get to use like 5 instant life flasks that you can just spam when you're actually getting hit. And here's the thing, having good recovery comes in really handy because we're constantly sacrificing life with Wrathpith, and we're also using this life mastery to alleviate mana issues. Like, totems are pretty expensive already, and we're using a multi-link helmet on top of that. That's also why I didn't imbue anything on Shockwave Totem, even though it's technically higher DPS. Now you might be wondering, why not just go Blood Magic? It gives you 10% more life too. Well, that is an option, but we lose out on Tempest Shield, which is really good, right? Shock immunity and a lot of avoidance via spell block. It would also feel like we're wasting the mana regen we get from Hierophant and Arcane Surge. But the main reason, with a mana pool, we get to use Righteous Fire of Arcane Devotion, which is 27% more damage, in the form of cast speed, which, remember, we want as much of as possible. Since we have a lot of percentage regen based on our large life pool, the degen, which is based on our regular sized mana pool, is actually just negligible. I have it linked with automation because I don't like having to press it at the beginning of every map. I was able to find one imbued with life tap already for really cheap, so I linked my Frostblink of Wintry Blast to it. Even though automation can't support Frostblink, as long as they're linked together, the imbue applies to the whole thing. Oh, and make sure you don't have a remove burning suffix on one of your flasks. It'll turn off your Righteous Fire, and then automation will turn it back on, proccing Wrathpith, so you'll end up losing more life than you actually gain from the flask. I was also using Herald of Purity for a while for more damage, but I ended up removing it because it had some anti-synergy with the build. I'm using an Animate Guardian setup with the new companionship support, which pretty much gives you 15% less damage taken as long as the AG is your only minion. Now, your totem hits won't spawn any Herald guys, but your Tempest Shield will sometimes hit a rare or unique, and even though it does no damage due to Ancestral Bond, it can spawn the Herald minions. The current setup is around 10 mil DPS less, but in actual gameplay terms, that's like an extra half second to kill Uber Exarch. The AG also gives you like 40% more damage on bosses. In maps, he can't really keep up with you, so the proximity based buffs aren't really a thing there, but you still have the added survivability of companionship. Throughout the footage, you may have noticed how I'm zooming through the map with Frostblink of Wintry Blast. We're able to do this without instantly deleting all our life with Wrathpith, because it only sacrifices life on the initial cast, and not on any repeats. So I have it linked to Greater Spell Echo for 2 additional repeats, on top of the one from the Echoing Shrine belt. So a total of 4 blinks for the price of 1. This can get a little hard to control, so I have a regular Frostblink too because the normal one can't be repeated. You can use a regular Spell Echo for 1 less repeat too. I was also using a shield charge for a while instead for more control, but getting blocked by trees and random little rocks got kind of annoying. I think that covers just about everything. The PLB is in the description. There's also a crafting guide in the notes section.